Hey, it's Mike. Thanks for tuning back in. It's Saturday. It's Celtics playoffs start today. It is t-shirt weather, at least for another day. Yesterday it was like 90 degrees here in Maine. Before I get into this quick story here, Oliver and I are actually going to be going to the Shriners show I think it's in Wilmington, Massachusetts. People say Boston, but it's not really. On the 29th, I guess it's 2 weeks from today. So I'm excited about that. I don't know what I'm going to buy, if anything, but it should be fun. If you're there, come say hello. So a few weeks ago maybe, I've lost all track of time. I posted about the FANTAST Collection, about Darren, whose father had passed away, and then he discovered that the hoard that his father had amassed during his lifetime was actually loaded with insanely valuable comic books. It also had a lot of sports cards in it. We didn't really get a good view of the sports cards at the time, but Darren watched my video, he liked it, and he posted on Instagram some sports card pictures that he had, and he tagged me in it, and then he called me yesterday, and we had an hour-long conversation. I recorded that call to share with you guys because I knew it would be really interesting. And when I went back to watch it afterwards, discovered that there was no audio. So the challenge with recording your screen on an iPhone is that it doesn't work that well. And so the rushing, I guess, I was rushing to record. I didn't think through how it would work. So it was an hour-long conversation. It was a really good conversation, and I'm going to show you some of the video of him showing me through the storage areas. I don't remember what he called them. Storage. Anyway, he was showing me through those, and he was pulling cards out, and they are some amazing cards. I'm going to show you that footage. It's nowhere near an hour because a lot of the time was just us talking. But there's probably a good at least 10 minutes of him going through the collection. And you have to picture that he was talking me through everything at the time. And I'm going to talk over it a little bit with some of the stuff that I found interesting that he was talking about. But I also want to touch on some of the things that he talked about and we talked about that I think are important. And Darren he's a super nice guy, and he's pretty sensitive about the way he's been treated. I said to him, "You're pretty defensive about this," and he said, "Yeah, I mean, I don't want everybody to like me, but it's hard," and I'm paraphrasing here, it's hard when he talked about how difficult his childhood was because his father wasn't available to him. His father didn't show him that love that you would expect from a good father or from really any father, and he then discovered after his father passed away that his father had this insane hoard of collectibles, and he's trying to do good with it. And I got a handful of negative comments on that video too about Darren and his mom, and he talked about how unfair it was to his mom, who still wants nothing to do with this. And when she divorced him, her attorney begged her to get the collection appraised, and she refused. She said, "I don't want anything to do with it ever." And she still doesn't. And Darren is doing this all himself. And Darren talks about how he has been very lucky. He owns a couple of businesses himself. He does very well. So he is able to do a lot of things with the collection that a lot of people are not able to do. And he very clearly said a couple times, he doesn't want anybody's sympathy. He's extraordinarily lucky. He's just talking about the facts of what happened. So back to the defensiveness, he said that people have thrown a lot of hate his way and his mom's way, and they did a little bit on my video too, but all over on all these videos he's gotten a lot of nasty messages, and he doesn't quite understand it. He said, "If this happened to you, what would you do? If you were dumped millions of collectibles, what would you do with it? Why should he take the blame for this, and why should he take criticism? Why would anybody criticize him for receiving this in an inheritance that he didn't even want in the first place?" And when he realized what it was, he's trying to do a lot of good with it. He's donating to a lot of charities. He's helping a lot of people. Is he making money from it? Of course he is. And so he talks about people calling him greedy. He said, the most interesting thing that he said to me, the one that really resonated with me, was he had 11 copies of one rare, semi-rare comic book, and somebody got mad at him because he wouldn't give one to that person. And they said, "You're just greedy. What do you need all these comic books for?" And he said to me, "Walmart has multiple copies of things. Why don't they give their extras away?" He's right. I mean, he's running a business. He's using all this space. He talked about the taxes that he has to pay. And he's not complaining about paying taxes. In fact, he said that he likes paying taxes. So I don't know. That's probably not his exact wording, but he understands why he has to anyway. So don't say he. In fact, no. He said he doesn't hate it any more than anybody else, or something like that. So don't comment who likes paying taxes, because that wasn't exactly what he said. He talked a lot about the taxes and the impact, and I really wish I had this on video, but he said that they have to provide a value at the time of passing, of his father's passing. And I'm probably going to get this a little bit wrong, so bear with me. So like the estate, what was it valued at the time of that? And for instance, that Batman comic that went for $1.11 million, he got about $900,000 before taxes out of that. And because it was appraised at more than that before it sold, the taxes are less or they're none. I'm not sure exactly. But he said that he pays 24% estate tax on anything above what it was appraised at the time of death, or at the time of the estate transferring to him. So I thought that was really, really interesting. And he said that it's insanely difficult because there are millions of things, and you'll see they're all over the place. There's no organization. It's insanely difficult to provide a value at the time of his father's passing. He needs to, when he finds something today, April 15th, he needs to say, okay, not what is this valued at today, but what was this valued at when his father passed away, and then what does he end up selling it for? And then he pays taxes on the gain from then. So really fascinating stuff that I wasn't aware of. I assumed he would pay taxes on everything above, or anything that he sold, but it sounded, and maybe I get this wrong, and I'm sure Darren will tell me, maybe I think he only pays taxes on above what it was appraised at. So interesting. I hope I didn't get that wrong. Darren, let me know if I did. So here are a handful of things that we talked about that I found really interesting. He talked about pressing comics. He has some pressers, and I've been looking at magazine pressing too. I'm really interested in autographed Sports Illustrateds. I don't have a lot of them. I do have a handful, and it's certainly not a focus of my collection, or even close to it. But with magazines and comic books, they press their comics. They do some, I want to say, cleaning or fixing of them, repair. And he talked about how you can't do that with cards. And he's aware of that. He's not a card guy, but he's learned that that's not something that's, that is definitely frowned upon in the card world, whereas in comics world, it's encouraged. So interesting stuff. And you'll see this video, man, it is crazy. There's no organization whatsoever. I'm going to talk over it as I show the video. His father was a hoarder, not a collector. And he made that clear in the video with me. He said, my father, you can tell by looking through this stuff, he was not a collector. He just bought and hoarded and didn't organize, didn't do anything with it whatsoever. And that really resonated with me. Like, am I a hoarder or am I a collector? I'm definitely a collector because I organize it. I don't want mess. I've got everything on its way to being organized. He has a guy who is organizing and cataloging everything for him. And he waved to me, he said hi. And Darren talked about how you got to find somebody who is very knowledgeable, somebody who's available, and somebody you can trust. And that's hard to do. Somebody how many experts are there that you can trust not to steal things, not to do the wrong thing, to organize it right, to catalog it right, and knows what they're doing with it all. He talked further about the pain his father caused him through his childhood, and he's still resentful of his father. And it came through very clearly how resentful he was in his father, towards his father, still is. He talked about some of the conversations he had with his father in the last 20 years of his father's life. Sorry if you can hear my dryer beeping here. and how he begged his father not to leave him all this mess. And his father just didn't want to do anything with it. He just bought stuff and put it in boxes, never to look at it again. So you're going to see he has a lot of CSG slabs with the green labels, because he did this right as CSG opened. He was already using CGC, which is the parent company. It's the comics branch of that company. And he was already using them, and they were really good to him. And so he started using them for cards as well. And so he's got the old green slabs, and he asked me, because he doesn't know cards like we do, and he said, you know, is this good? Is PSA better? He does have a lot of PSA slabs now as well. And I said, value-wise, PSA is much better. I didn't think to say to him that he should consider crossing some of them over to PSA, but he probably should. So Darren, if you're watching, I would consider crossing over the big cards, the Babe Ruth Goudeys, the Mickey Mantles, the Willie Mayses, the Hank Aarons from the 50s, all those guys. You consider sending them in the CSG slabs. I wouldn't crack them if I were you, unless you have an expert who knows how to crack them out of the slabs. Too risky. Send them in the CSG slabs off to PSA. The Goudey Ruth, you might consider sending to SGC. I think pre-war SGC might get better value. Pre-war collectors are big on SGC. Guys, for my commenters, throw a comment on what you think he should do with those CSG slabs. Obviously, you know, we talked about guys like Richie Ashburn. Sell them, in my opinion, keep them in the CSG slabs, sell them that way. But he said that there wasn't, so far in all the boxes he had gone through, didn't find a single 86 Fleer Jordan or Barkley or any really 86 Fleer at all. And he was really interested because there's everything, you guys. There is everything, millions of cards. They're everywhere. And to not have a Jordan 86 Fleer was pretty surprising to him. Yeah, really interesting conversation. I really wish I had the audio from this conversation. It was really interesting. He's a very engaging kind of guy, the kind of guy you can sit and talk to for a long time. He's just very expressive. He's easy to talk to. I enjoyed it a lot. I'm going to show the video, his half of the video anyway, where he's going through the cards and through the rooms of storage. Let me know in comments what you think. I appreciate you guys watching, and I'll be back tomorrow with a video about blacklist error cards of the 80s. Thanks to a lot of research from subscriber Brent, and a couple of other people have sent me some stuff too. All right, have a great weekend, you guys. All right, these are all, obviously, it looks like graded magazines maybe. Here are the storage containers. I told him how much I would love, and any collector would love, to just go through and just have a day to just look through all of this stuff. These are all comics. These are all books or cards. Imagine walking through here, just being able to search through all these boxes. There's some toys. We're getting to the cards. And like he said, it's extraordinarily disorganized, although he's getting there. Here are the PSA slabs. It looks like he's got a lot of them. Here are some of those CSG green labels with some staggering cards. Frank Robinson 57, a 7.5. These are high-grade 50s cards. Some mid-grade too, of course. Oh, man. Some, yeah, mid-grade. There's some low-grade stuff in here, too. You can see where we talked for a while. Talked over the mantles. 7.5. Here comes a big one. There it is. There it is. It's a 1.5, but still. a Jackie on Jackie Robinson Day. Pretty good. Would you cross these over to PSA? I don't know. Some of them I certainly would. Here's some more PSA boxes. Those, there's some other things we'll see again that I'll talk about. Look at these just unopened boxes and sets. Some hockey cards. They're everywhere. Some uncut sheets in here too. There's some cello packs. Unopened boxes, sets. Like I said, here's some uncut sheets of something. I can't quite tell what that is. Skybox Series 2. These are early 90s basketball. A lot of junk wax in here for sure. I mean, he had all eras, all years. Unopened packs. Unopened packs. Unopened boxes. Look at all this stuff. And then just singles. Looks like he bought maybe collections or bought packs in the 50s. Signed balls. I hope you're enjoying going through this, just watching it as much as I am. I wish there were audio to it, but just watching it, again, for me, is so much fun. Singles and top loaders. More unopened packs. Imagine getting a day to go through this and just see what's in there. Looks like 89 tops, maybe? I can't tell. $65 tops there. On top. But he's got years mixed with years. You've got some 80s in a box mixed in with 50s and 60s in the same box. It's like being at a disorganized Burbank card shop or in the warehouse. '89 Upper Deck. I can't tell if that's low series or high. But if that's low series, that box is worth a few $100. Well, I don't know if it still is, as the values have come down a little bit. But I definitely wouldn't open any of these unopened boxes. Unless you've got like 20 of them, then you say, okay, I'll open one and then sell the rest. Or save the rest, get them wrapped by BBCE. Darren, look up Baseball Card Exchange. That's what I would do with a lot of these unopened boxes, the ones that have value. Looks like 1960s Topps coins there. Might not be 60s. And he talked about how his father didn't have a lot of money. He was an attorney, but he was very, very frugal, except for this. And he would just go out and buy things and then put them in boxes. And he retired at the age of 45, not because he was wealthy, but because he didn't want to work anymore. And then I think he said that he stopped buying all this stuff at some point around then. Here we go. Some more big PSA slabs. The Big Jackie, Satchel Page 53, Willie Mays, another Willie Mays, another Willie Mays, Jackie, another Mays. Man, these are the big ones. Those are the ones that he should probably send to auction. I can't tell what these grades are, except for that one's a 2, not a big one, but there's an Al Kaline, and he said he grew up in Detroit or near Detroit, so he's a Kaline fan, obviously familiar with them. Mean Joe Green. And then I think, if I remember correctly, this is mixed with some Garbage Pail Kids too. Yeah, there it is. Look at this. It's amazing. And he has the big Garbage Pail Kid in here, you'll see. And if you're familiar with the Garbage Pail Kids, you know. And here's the variation of it that's not, I think this isn't quite the valuable one, but here it comes. There it is, Atom Bomb right there. That's the big one. And there's another one. And there's another one. And there's another one. So I'd love to have an Atom Bomb just as nostalgia. I would display an Atom Bomb behind me on my desk. Reggie Jackson rookie. Hank Aaron 65. Ozzy rookie. 7.5 on that Mantle. Schmidt rookie looked like. Gibson rookie. Love that color. Another Jackie. 53. Man. These are dream cards. These are cards any baseball card collector would ever want. Here's a Babe Ruth in a CSG 1. You can tell by looking at it. That's a 1. No matter what company is going to grade that. Love that Mantle. The red. It's interesting. He's got the Kluszewski and he's got some lesser names mixed in here. Del Rice. Richie Allen, Bobby Shantz. These G's here, those boxes are filled with cards that he's going to grade. Big cards in there. His focus is the comics, the comic books. The Tigers card he likes because he was a Tigers fan, Detroit guy. We're wrapping this up here, but I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know in comments.